First quarter stats are in for 2026 in Lafayette Parish. And man, it's been quite crazy. So let's jump right in. So, as you can see, we've had 302 sales March versus 288 sales this time last year. That equates, I love this kind of boring stuff, actually about a 12% increase. We're up year to date. Year to date, we're up 12%. We're only up 4.9% month over month. Nice boring increase. That ends up working out really, really well. So year to date, we're off to a pretty fast start, mostly because of the pretty crazy January and February that we had. Normally March is a little bit wilder, but the first 2 months of the year were significantly better than they were last year. So when we take a look at dollar volume tells us a little bit of a similar story. We had $89.51-ish million compared to $85.93 million. That is a 3.5% increase year over year. When we're looking at year to date, we are right at 15.5% year over year. So first quarter through first quarter, about 8.25% over and above where we were this time last year. So moving forward, we always like to take a look at leading indicators, which is, where is the market heading? And one of the things that we take a look at is what are new homes coming on the market. We had 40. This is also the supply end of the chain. So 431 homes came on the market this time last year. 453 homes came on the market. Last year, 453. This year's 435. That is a difference of 5% decrease as far as new homes on the market. So the supply actually went down a little bit in March. We're up 3.5% year to date. Homes coming off the market or pending homes, that's when a buyer and a seller have a meeting of the minds. This doesn't necessarily mean all of them are going to make it over to the end of the contract. And some of them may fall out, inspections, financing, contingent contracts, et cetera. But we're off to a good start. If you take a look at our graph right here, 343 homes. The only pending month last month that beat March of this year was in July, and it only did it by 5 homes. So we're off to a pretty good start. We're actually second place by 5 homes. 323 homes, same time this past March. That is a difference of 6.2% increase in homes coming off the market. When we're looking at where we were compared to first quarter versus first quarter, we have a 9% increase in total demand. So recapping, we have a 3.6% increase in supply, a 9% increase in the demand. That's a net positive for the demand. So we had 5.5% more homes coming off the market than we had homes coming on the market. So next thing, everybody always loves to know what their average sales price happens to be. These things kind of jump up and down a good bit month over month. 296, 386 versus 298, 310. Pretty small, little boring drop. That was a 0.43% decrease in sales. That could have been more expensive homes sold this time last March compared to this March, even though we had a substantial amount more homes that have actually sold. So not a ton of movement. So sales relatively flat. When we're talking about homes that are available for sale, 1,307 homes this March compared to 1,233. So we actually had an increase in the available number of homes that are for sale. That was 5.5% increase or 5.6% increase compared to where we were this time last year. So let me go pop up. 30-year fixed rate mortgages, we're still hovering low sixes, 6.1, 6.25. A lot of activity still running around through the war in Iran. Once this stuff kind of gets itself settled out, my prediction, we should see a drop down in those rates and a continuation in the demand that we've actually had. Spring market is in full swing. We are moving quite a few more homes than we have been in, this time last year. So if you're thinking about getting on the market, our inventory levels at 400 and below, definitely in need of some of that inventory. There is a possibility for an upswing for you to be able to still be able to get over and above what you would have bought, even if you would have bought in COVID. So a little bit more movement down on the upper end, on the upper luxury end. So you could, buy high, sell high, buy low. You have that opportunity to be able to do that. So if you're interested in finding out what your equity position happens to look like, feel free to shoot me a direct message. You can give me a call, 337-658-5690, and we will see you next time.